Good morning and welcome to the USGBC South Atlantic Carolinas Town Hall. My name is Rhiannon Jacobson and I serve at USGBC as the Vice President of Market Transformation and Development for our Southern regions. I'm excited to be with you here this morning. I'm coming to you live from my home in Washington, D.C., where I share it with three new coworkers, my husband, 7-year-old son, and 18-pound Maine Coon cat. Pro tip, the Maine Coon cat is probably the easiest to work with and around. Our home, like so many of yours, in the last couple months has become a school, an office, a restaurant, a gymnasium, a church, and just about everything else that we used to kind of experience and be able to visit and take part in. We're working hard to stay healthy, happy, hopeful, and some days that's difficult. We're incredibly grateful that you took your time to be here today to share it with us, to learn about what USGBC is doing, how you can continue to participate in that. Because one thing that I can absolutely say, our work continues, our mission continues. This morning, when I think about the time that you're putting forth, when people are worried about really bringing home the bacon, both literally and figuratively, and again, making sure that you stay committed to that mission, we continue to be grateful and appreciative. We're hoping that you're going to learn today, to be educated, to celebrate our accomplishments that we've done together, and to be inspired by the words of our CEO. I applaud your participation. For 14 years, I've been a member of the USGBC team, and in 14 years, a lot has changed. One thing that has stayed constant is USGBC. One thing that has stayed constant is the fact that we're all committed to a mission for green buildings for all within a generation. This continues to be essential. Better buildings, better lives. And with that, we'll start to get into our program for today. I've talked a little bit about myself. I did want to mention that another member of our leadership team for our Southern regions, Ryan Snow, our Director of Market Transformation and Development, will be joining us later for a robust Q&A with our CEO, Mahesh. I want to absolutely encourage you, if you haven't submitted a question already, it's not too late. Please do so. The Q&A is the most exciting part of today's experience because it's where we can really hear from you on your customized questions, what you're interested in, what's affecting you in the Carolinas, what does the future trajectory look like for your local community? So please absolutely participate in that. Now, on to the rest of the team. So while I've talked about Ryan and myself, I want to do a huge shout out to what we call our Big South team. And we're going to show you exactly what the Big South means in a minute or so. But in the meantime, what you're seeing here is a small but mighty team. We have a lot of states that we're covering across the southern regions at USGBC, and we have some incredibly committed and dedicated staff. So to Kirsten, Jenny, Lee, Mark, Jessica, Beth, Sarah, Suzanne, and Nandita, thank you. We would not be here today without these folks. They are handling everything from education to sponsorship to community building to mission-related activities to the communications that get out there to spotlighting people and projects within their local communities. They really are the reason we're able to be so strong, so vigorous, and continue to thrive in the Big South region. So the Big South, you've heard me mention this. Why do we call it that? Well, you can see it's a lot of states. It's a big part of the U.S. We get very excited about this, and at times maybe even a little annoying with a hashtag or two that says USGBC Big South. What you're seeing here today, because this week we're focusing on the South Atlantic, you'll see the South Atlantic states in that salmony color. The South Central states are in blue, and we'll be focusing on those in August. So please do tell if you've got colleagues, you've got friends, you've got people that you think might be interested in this. Get them involved. Even if they're not part of one of the states that we're focusing on in the town halls, have them participate, have them learn about USGBC. You'll also see town halls going on all around the country, but because I'm a bit of a competitive person, I'm just showing you my states. Mahesh is going to touch on this further, but I think what's really essential is to understand, and you're going to hear a lot about the second generation of USGBC today. And what does that look like? We continue to absolutely have that kind of top-down approach from mission down. Where does the mission focus around? Our 4 core pillars: sustainability, health and wellness, resilience, and equity. All things that so many of us are focused on in our personal and professional lives. Of course, those pieces are going to be built on the foundation of LEAD, membership, and LEAD performance. And again, I'm going to let Mahesh talk even more about that because this is a critical message and a critical part of what you're going to learn today. So here in the Big South, we think that it's great when we tell you how wonderful that we think we're doing. However, what we wanted to give you was a bit of a report card, a transparency, the ability to understand kind of what we're measuring and what matters to us. The first piece to absolutely emphasize is that in the Big South, we are all about the people. Sure, we're an organization that works on and creates building projects. Projects exist for people. So when we think about how we can have a thriving, healthy local community, that's going to be by engaging people. That's going to be by convening people, creating conversations with one another. And while you're going to see us talk about some metrics that relate to in-person events, we want you to understand that in 2020, we may not be with you in person, but our intention is to be with you virtually as much as possible. So we'll also be talking about that transition a bit. So looking at 2019, how did we do? What we saw in terms of engagement, we were able to engage with 13,700 attendees at hosted events. So what's a hosted event? It's when USGBC has a leadership awards, has an education session, has a panel, kind of all of those pieces, has a conference. We additionally engaged with 12,500 of you at outside presentations. So what did that kind of translate to? Perhaps it's a partner organizations conference. Maybe it's another type of event or convening that we were able to participate with you at. That resulted in over 26,000 engagements and really kind of people that we were able to touch last year. We're proud of this number. We're proud that we got to see 26,000 of you. However, we know that that's only a kind of drop in the bucket for how many people we need to get to really move this conversation. While I can give you that number, that 26,000 number, it means nothing unless you understand whether or not it's growing or declining. And what we saw in the Big South last year was 140% growth in attendance. Even for a competitive person, this makes me satisfied. Not satisfied enough to keep it at 140% for this next year. I want to make it even bigger. But what it says is that we're getting to more people. We're expanding our conversation. We're getting beyond our choir, because that is going to be that essential piece of that next wave of USGBC, of green building, and of where we're going. Now, some of the other metrics that we were tracking last year, I think are particularly interesting when we look at where we are in 2020. We already had a very strong virtual base of kind of communicants, if you will, with just under 51,000 newsletter subscribers and just over 26,000 social media subscribers. We're, of course, hoping to grow these numbers as well this year because so much of what we do virtually is essential. So how did we do this? How are we able to report these types of numbers? What's really necessary in all of this is I have shown you our team. So as you can see, it's not a huge team. And what we really have is a massive team that is part of our volunteer kind of, I would say, workforce, inspiration force, if you will. We've got over 3,400 volunteers actively working in the South Atlantic and South Central regions to make sure that we're able to do everything from events to highlighting those projects, those people, to creating valuable conversations and networking moments. So to our volunteers, all I can say is thank you. Our team is able to be successful because of your work. Your work is the kind of the reason, the backbone, the way that we get out there. We could not be more grateful. Please continue to volunteer. Please let us know today if you're interested in volunteering further or if there are other pieces that you'd like to get involved with. Now, another piece behind all of this, we can talk about numbers of attendees at events. We can talk about newsletter subscribers, our volunteer base. One of the kind of elements that I think is necessary when we think about growth and where we're headed, again, how do we get to those new communities, those new people? Last year at Greenbuild, 65% of our Greenbuild scholarship recipients were from the southern regions. So what that means is that in all that engagement, on all that volunteerism, and all of that leadership that's been happening in the southern regions, we're getting to new people because they're applying for things like scholarships to Greenbuild to really be able to, again, be educated, celebrate, and inspire. These are essential pieces. Greenbuild is absolutely my watershed moment for USGBC, that kind of distillation of where I wanted to go within the industry. So again, this is a factor that we're very proud of. For any of you thinking, well, Greenbuild was in Atlanta, that makes sense. These numbers have tracked very similarly in past years as well. The South remains a very strong place in which we see new professionals emerging and participating. So membership, some more numbers for you. Again, how did we do in 2019? We had just under 1,400 individual members and just over 2,400 organizational members representing millions of employees. All I can say right here is thank you. We could not be more grateful to our members. We absolutely are hoping that you stay with us in 2020 and beyond. Membership is a critical part of USGBC and really how we're able to make sure that the organization continues at both the quality of our products, but then also our breadth and our expanse. So again, thank you. Please consider membership if you're not already. And if you are a member, thank you very much for making that decision. All right, so on to some of those project numbers. I am absolutely genuine when I say that we believe that people come first, that engagement, a kind of healthy and thriving community is a large one in which people are communicating and participating with one another. But what we know based on what we do is that we are all about lead projects. So how did we do in 2019? We had 821 registered lead projects. We had 739 certified lead projects. And what that resulted in was over 133 million lead certified square feet, affecting millions, if not tens of millions of people. Because again, projects are for people. I was thinking the other day that in so many ways, my built environment has really boiled down to my home, the grocery store, and the data center in which I'm getting my information from. That's not going to be the world forever moving forward. And that's where we start to really talk about the effect that can happen from these buildings and what's possible in our future trajectory. All right, I've talked a little bit about the fact that I'm a competitive person. And since I am, I enjoy things like the LEED Top 10 states for LEED Green Building. I enjoy them a lot more when the South Atlantic is represented strongly on these. You'll see that we had 3 entries this year with Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. I am looking at you, North and South Carolina, to make this list next year. I would love to see even more. We have the opportunity. We see leadership all around us in the southern regions. So congratulations to Maryland, Virginia, and D.C. And of course, we're hoping that we're going to see more entries from the South or from the South Atlantic and South Central next year. All right. So while we've continued to see steady growth in LEED projects and in the people that are participating, the conversations that we're having, and the offerings, we're also seeing an incredible amount of growth in our LEED for Cities and Communities program within the southern regions. We're proud to say that based on a Bank of America Charitable Foundation grant that we received for LEED for Cities and Communities projects, over 30% of those recipients were from the southern regions. Our partnership with Bank of America has been an incredibly strong one that we're proud of, one that has been able to stake nearly 50 projects for our LEED for Cities and Communities. You'll be hearing more about this when Mahesh talks about the scale and the opportunities here. Now on to some local statistics. One of the pieces that I really want to kind of drive home, how much is happening in the Carolinas. So North Carolina LEED statistics, you're looking at just over 1,000 registered projects total and over 1,000 certified projects total. That's affecting 234 million gross square feet. So again, that's also affecting and connecting to millions and tens of millions of residents within the state. South Carolina LEED statistics. You've got 352 registered projects, 365 certified projects, and that's affecting over 72 million gross square feet. And then in North Carolina and in South Carolina, and we'll take a look at both, we have an incredible market leadership advisory board really directing so many of the opportunities that are happening within your states and as a micro region within the South Atlantic. So thank you very much, the members of our MLab. I have been able to meet just about all of you, and it is really a pleasure to always be able to work with such professional volunteers. And making sure that we show you also South Carolina. Again, we have an exceptionally strong market leadership advisory board, and we're proud of how well these two groups work together. Now, I want to take a moment to make sure that I say thank you to a critical person on both of these slides. Jessica Wilson, who is our lead for USGBC Carolinas community, has done an amazing job with these two states, making everything from inspirational events focused around equity occur to flagship offerings like our Southern Hospitality Summit. So Jessica, thank you. I know you're on this morning. She's going to be leading our business development meetings for the next couple of days, and we couldn't be more excited by her work and her abilities. All right, so let's look a little bit at the Carolinas story when we talk about it for people. Carolina is inclusive with over 200 diverse members, committed with over 100 plus volunteers, and absolutely dedicated to raising the living standard for all. And then when we talk about kind of how we're able to make these pieces kind of happen, if you will, financially, we could not be prouder of our Carolinas annual partners. You're seeing a lot of companies on this screen. I'm not going to walk through all of them, but again, these are the folks that are making the funding happen so that we can get to all of the work that we need to do. Thank you for the continued support. Please know that we are grateful. We are always looking for ways that we can partner both with the companies that are on this screen and companies that might not be yet. Please let us know how that is, and always consider us a partner versus just a kind of a transaction, if you will. So Carolina's upcoming events. We talked a little bit earlier about those attendance numbers, about how we're looking at attendees at this point. And what we are offering throughout our regions is a very kind of deep and robust lineup of virtual events. You'll see some upcoming events here in the Carolinas. We've got a USGBC Carolinas lead virtual visit. So that used to be what we would call a green building tour. We're doing those virtually. That will be with the Salvation Army Ray and Joan Kroc Center. You'll also see that on May 21st. We've got a USGBC Carolinas panel, leadership panel on equity, and a number of other pieces. We're trying to make sure that we stay to our pillars as a team of education, celebration, and inspiration. If we're missing something, or if there's an area that you think that you'd like to participate in or present on, please let us know. We're always looking for more opportunities. We want to keep our network and our community strong. This week, if you haven't registered already, there's absolutely room to do so. We'll be offering a series of technical workshops. So we've talked about those kind of three pillars that we're working off of: education, celebration, and inspiration. And if you haven't heard it enough from me, you're probably going to hear it another couple times on those. But the education part is critical. So much is happening at USGBC and with the lead rating system. We want to make sure that there are opportunities for you to learn about that. So this week we'll be offering a LEAD version 4.1 that happens today. That will be the next evolution of LEAD. So it's really going to walk you through the main components of new construction and dip a little bit into existing buildings. On May 13th, we'll have a LEAD in existing buildings technical workshop. And then on May 14th, we'll have the LEAD Zero Energy and LEAD Zero Carbon. And then on May 15th, we'll have an ARC Performance Pro Level 1. You're going to hear a bit more from the Chief Operating Officer of ARC in a few minutes, and hopefully that will pique your interest. But please think about attending these workshops. If price is a concern, let us know. We can absolutely make things happen. All right, and now we're just getting into the last couple slides. I want to make sure that I give a very big thank you to Energy Cost Solutions Group and Roanoke Cement today for your sponsorship of our town halls. Again, this type of financial support is critical to USGBC and really allows us to be able to produce events like this for you. So thank you for that support. We are so appreciative. Now, on to our presenter of today's town hall. I am proud to be turning over this screen to my friend and colleague, Chief Operating Officer David Wittick, who will be presenting ARC SCORU and moving us into the main town hall. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Rhiannon. Thank you very much. Good morning to everybody in North Carolina, South Carolina. It's great to be with you today. I wish we were there in person, but happy to at least be sharing my message with you virtually. I'm going to share a little bit about what ARC's been up to, and hopefully it piques your interest to to learn more, as Rhiannon said, and to get involved with your projects. I want to start with what ARC is. It's a technology platform that allows you to measure the performance of your building. It picks up where LEED is traditionally left off, or LEED's about the intent of your project and how you design it, and that the construction meets the design specs. ARC picks up once it goes operational, once people move in. And so we want to know, is it still performing how you intended it to perform? Rhiannon had a bunch of numbers, so I'm going to share some numbers too. We are working with nearly 10,000 projects so far, over 6.5 million occupants and 3.5 billion square feet of space. We are seeing some activity in the Carolinas, but we would be happy to work with you more. So please feel free to bring your projects in. We want to help you measure your energy, your water, your waste, your transportation, your human experience, and we translate those into carbon emission tracking as well. By tracking and measuring the performance in your building, you're able to make adjustments to your energy and water use, and that allows you to save money on your operational costs. I'm going to show you a chart here that's the USGBC headquarters, and it shows how much our annual energy use is. The bottom line is 2011. That represents our baseline year, and that's nearly 1 million kilowatt hours of use. And in 2019, we were able to get it down to about 425,000 kilowatt hours. So that's nearly 600,000 kilowatt hours in reduction over that time period, which translates to about $80,000 in operational cost savings. And that's an annual savings number, not a one-time savings. So something certainly that to look into, and it allows our facilities team to react quickly and see use patterns. But we want to try to meet you where you are, and ARC was created to help every project get started no matter where you are. So at the end of 2019, we created ARC for All, and what that means is every project everywhere can get started on ARC right away at no cost. All a project has to do is enter their data into the platform, and we'll give you a performance score. You're able to bring in all of your projects, whether they're LEED or non-LEED, and you'll see them in one place where you can manage and compare them easily. Your data management and your reporting requirements become centralized and easier for you to track. We recognize that not everybody can get LEED certified right off the bat too, and so we want to help those projects get started on their sustainability journey on an incremental path towards LEED certification. So we've introduced category level performance certificates. So if you're interested in your energy rating, just enter that data and we'll give you an energy category certificate and an energy performance score. You can complete each category: energy, water, waste, transportation, and human experience, one at a time. And if you achieve all 5, you'll be ready for LEED certification. A great example of this is in Brazil, where we have more than 350 schools that are using our performance certificates to show their stakeholders where they are today. They're on a path towards LEED 0 for energy, but they're not there yet, and they want to be able to share their story along the way. Now, of course, if you're interested in LEED as a final destination, ARC can be used to achieve LEED certification and recertification with your performance data. ARC is able to power LEED 4.1 O&M certification, LEED 0 certification for energy, water, waste, and carbon, or LEED recertification for any of the versions of any of the LEED rating systems. What you need to do to achieve those goals, the LEED certification or recertification goals, are what's shown here on the screen. 12 months of energy and water, 1 waste audit, 1 transportation survey, 1 occupant satisfaction survey, and 1 indoor air quality sampling. Obviously, you could do more than those, keep your data fresh, but those are the minimum requirements. And it makes sense to get started where you have the data right away. Most people have energy and water information available to them. And if you're using Energy Star's Portfolio Manager, we can integrate with that directly and eliminate any need for manual data keying. Now, to help you understand ARC better and to understand the importance of performance measurement in general, we've created several Performance Pro trainings. All of these can be taken on demand and will earn you a course completion certificate, will earn you GBCI CE credits. And as Rhiannon mentioned, this Friday we'll have a live in-person or a live virtual in-person training that will be given. So if you're interested, please join us for that on Friday. And then starting this week, we've launched a new product that's called ARC Essentials. This allows people who are maybe advanced users or want to get more information about their project. It gives them tools, features, reports that allow you to kind of dive a little bit deeper than our ARC for All. It allows you to look at strategies that other lead new construction projects in your area have created that will then assist you in your design planning. It will help you model scores so that you can see how your score will change if your performance changes. And you'll be able to create detailed reports for your project, which can be customized and then exported for your use. These contain a ton of data, and it's categorized by each of the categories that we track, as well as gives you lead readiness comparability. Now, we believe that performance is the future of green building, and we've established the ARC Performance Platform to help people design, build, and operate buildings and spaces that benefit both people and the environment. We'll be holding webinars on May 27th, 28th, and June 4th with guest speakers who are all portfolio owners who are going to share their experiences in ARC. So we'd love for you to join us for one of those, but I'd ask that you get started with ARC today. I appreciate your time, and now I want to hand it over to the main part of the show here, our USGBC and GBCI CEO and President, Mahesh Ramanujam. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you, Rhiannon. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope that you and your families are all staying safe and healthy. At times like these, I am tempted to say how precious human life is and how fragile our world can be. But the truth is, we have never seen anything like what we are experiencing. Our strength and humanity have been trusted throughout history, but what is unfolding around us will undoubtedly reveal new vulnerabilities and challenge our adaptability in unthinkable ways. So here at USGBC, and for those of us in the green building community, we spend the better part of our days talking about the need for our society to be more resilient, healthy, and equitable. And now in the midst of COVID-19, we have the opportunity to help each other by sharing our best practices and our resilient behaviors with communities all around the world. The global foundation for sustainability we have set in place is indestructible. And even in the midst of an unprecedented public health crisis, I have no doubt that what all of us have built over the last generation of USGBC will endure. Our work and our mission have not stopped. In fact, they are more important now than ever before. We have the opportunity to gather under the common banner of humanity and champion a better quality of life for millions of people around the world. I find comfort in knowing that we will emerge a stronger community in the months and weeks ahead. And I'm so grateful to be a part of this community and that you have all taken the time to join us today to discuss how we can move forward together. So on behalf of everyone at USGBC, I would also like to thank our healthcare workers, emergency responders, grocery store employees, and all other essential workers who are working day in and day out to protect their communities. Now, for more than 25 years, we have worked together to build USGBC, GBCI, and LEAD into the extraordinary entities they are today. We have spent the better part of our days talking about the need for our society to be more sustainable, resilient, healthy, and equitable. And now, as we enter the second generation of USGBC, and as COVID-19 continues to change our way of life, we have the opportunity to help each other by sharing our best practices and resilient behaviors with vulnerable communities around the world. We can rely on each other and on these foundations to help us recalibrate and recover from this crisis. But to be able to effectively initiate the recovery, we must refine, lead, and our other program strategies to clearly communicate the economic, health, and environmental benefits of a project to its occupants, to its stakeholders, and the community to which it belongs. Now, at USGBC, we believe the greatest investment we can make is in each other. That is why we are an inclusive and diverse family of green builders from across the globe. We are real estate leaders, developers, contractors, architects, engineers, educators, innovators, financial institutions, companies, all working together to build healthy, efficient, and equitable communities. Especially in times like these, I am honored to be a part of this community of leaders. So thank you for everything you have done. Your work has fueled us over this first generation, and I'm proud of what we have been able to accomplish together. And I'm excited and optimistic for what we will build next, regardless of our current situation. And thank you to all the members, USGBC members who are on the front lines and helping others to get through the impact of the COVID-19 outbreak. We have been sharing their stories on our website, so I encourage you all to check them out. And if you have a story to share, please share it with us. Here in the Carolinas, there are a combined 200 plus member organizations. In North Carolina, this includes gold members, Coyote Construction Company, the University of North Carolina, platinum member Wells Fargo, and platinum member Bank of America, who has made impressive company-wide commitments to meaningful and sustainable outcomes through its building portfolio and beyond. The bank has 19 million square feet of LEED certified space, nearly 25% of its total real estate portfolio. Particularly here in Charlotte, their corporate center has earned LEED operations and maintenance certification 3 times. And we remain grateful for the continued support of Lisa Shipwrights. And in South Carolina, I would like to thank members like Milliken, Sustainable Product Manufacturer, LS3P Architects, and Furman University in Greenville for their leadership and support. And I hope you know that membership is absolutely vital to our work. Members fund and support everything that we do and everything that I'll be talking about today. Without you, none of this work would be possible. You are investing in the future of green building with us. And together, we are building a sustainable future for all. And the baseline of that future, as you know, is LEED. I want to give you all a quick update on how far we have come over our first generation and where we are headed with LEED in the future. 20 plus years ago, when we created LEED, we created a universally agreed upon holistic system for reducing environmental impact and providing quality indoor environment, always with the goal of reducing carbon emissions, addressing climate related risks, and improving occupant health and wellness. And today, green building has grown into a $1 trillion industry, and LEED has become the most widely used green building program in the world, and it is a full-scale global movement. Here is just a few of milestones we have hit. 102,000 plus registered and certified LEED commercial projects. 2 million plus registered and certified residential units. Projects in 178 countries and territories, and 205,000 plus LEED APs developing, contributing, and implementing the LEED rating system across the world. Think about those numbers. Each of you has contributed to that legacy. You have helped improve your community through each project, each building, each credential. And you have helped ensure that LEED is not just a de facto leadership standard, but also a living standard. Because of the work you are doing, people know that if they are in a LEED certified building, they are using less energy, less water, avoiding waste, saving on maintenance costs, improving indoor air quality, offering comfort to their occupants, and creating less environmental burden on their communities. Most importantly, they know they are in a building that enhances health and wellness. Here in the Carolinas, you're contributing towards these incredible numbers I just mentioned. And Rhiannon also touched on couple of these stats. You have hit a combined 5,219 registered and certified LEED projects totaling 319 million total square feet of space. And there are 6,376 LEED professionals directing this work across the state. I'd like to take this moment to share some of the great work taking part across North and South Carolina, like Sierra Nevada Brewing Companies, whose Mills River facility is LEED Platinum certified. Using lessons learned from their Chico, California facility, Sierra Nevada closely adhered to LEED guidelines from the start of construction to the completion of the project, resulting in a site that is among the best in class for breweries. Project highlights include 2,200 photovoltaic solar panels, 2,200, and micro turbine technology that converts methane biogas into electricity. Together, these technologies generate 20% of the facility's electricity needs. Sierra Nevada is also a leader in waste management and embraces a zero waste philosophy in every facet of its operations. Shortly after achieving LEED, the Mills River Brewery also achieved True Zero Waste Platinum certification. In order to achieve True, the brewery achieved a waste diversion of 98.9%. Let me repeat, 98.9% waste diversion. In 2016, the company saw a net savings of over $392,000 from their zero waste program. The most important element of Sierra Nevada's sustainability story, and I love this part, is its employees. With constant education, training, and encouragement, employees form the backbone of the company's sustainability efforts and serve as ambassadors for all they do. Then there is University of South Carolina's new LEED Gold Center for Health and Wellbeing, which accommodates a robust complement of medical, mental health, advocacy, and preventive and wellness services. During the certification process, the project team strove to view all the sustainable strategies implemented through the lens of health and wellness. The result is a campus center that is setting the bar for student health centers nationwide and probably globally. Or what about the LEED Silver Salvation Army Ray and Joan Kroc Community Center in Greensville? Located in an underserved community, the facility offers centralized resources that focus on health, fitness, the arts, and social connections. In alignment with its mission to restore and strengthen individuals, the community, and the environment, a 25-acre brownfield site was selected for the 79,000 square foot facility. Just stop and think about this. Some of Greenville's most vulnerable community members will experience buildings designed and maintained by people with a commitment to LEED standards, which means that while they are in these buildings, every need of these vulnerable populations are considered. Every instinct to help protect them has been thought of. That's incredible. That means something. That should be the standard we set across the board, across the world, for all populations and all communities, not exception. And let's not forget, none of this progress you're making would be possible without education and our credentialed stakeholders. Credentials provides a means for becoming not just a participant in this field, but a leader. Today, I want to take a moment to recognize a few of our local leaders. I especially want to call out the leadership of our LEED fellows in the Carolinas. Will Weaver, Sarah O'Mara, Gail Hampshire, Alicia Reveto, and Linda Sorrento. The LEED Fellow is the most prestigious distinction awarded by GBCI and recognizes outstanding LEED APs who have demonstrated exceptional impact with LEED. I'd also like to recognize our MLab leaders in the region. For those of you who are not familiar with the term MLab stands for Market Leadership Advisory Board. The MLab represents a diverse group of locally based leaders who advise on strategic and tactical activities implemented as part of USGBC's global work plan. They work collaboratively with a larger network of MLabs around the US in order to develop and implement integrative, consistent, and effective local work plans in all strategic markets and contribute to the global success of the USGBC community. Summer Minshew is our MLab chair in North Carolina and has been a tremendous partner of USGBC over the years. In addition to her role on the MLab, she also participates in the Health Product Declaration Collaborative Third-Party Verification Technical Subcommittee and is a recognized lead user expert, offering advice to lead practitioners internationally. As managing partner at Eco Impact, Summer specializes in green building program project management, including documentation and submission for projects pursuing LEED certification, and has herself managed the certification of more than 1 million square feet of green building space. Our MLab chair in South Carolina, John Hansen, has served more than a decade in advancing the green building movement in South Carolina, as well as holding regional and national leadership roles with USGBC. Notable volunteer service achievements include leading the formation of the upstate branch of USGBC South Carolina in 2007 and 2008, establishing Gear Up, a regional USGBC leadership summit that brings together leaders from across the Southeast for training and collaboration on common strategic initiatives from 2011 to 2015, serving with the USGBC National Board and Local Community Steering Committee to unite the community into one organization to strengthen collaboration, enhance programming, expand market reach, and better leverage resources in 2015, and acting as the current chair of USGBC South Carolina. We thank both Summer and John for their tremendous partnership. If the first generation of LEED was about connecting the dots between awareness and adoption, about educating people on the impact of this work, then the second generation must be about accelerating adoption. And doing so through new metrics, new credits, new incentives, new goals, and new ways of implementing LEED at a time when the world needs it most. In our latest version, LEED version 4.1, we have not only raised our energy reference standard, but also added a carbon metric to the rating systems for both new and existing buildings. This way, we can directly measure impact buildings are having on their climate, as dictated by efficiency, on-site generation and storage, and the grid it is a part of. We have also made improvements to the renewable energy credit. So buildings are incentivized to invest in the kind of clean energy technology that lowers emissions even further. And in LEED version 4.1, we are asking project teams to understand the embodied carbon in their material selection. This way, they can use whole building life cycle assessments and tools like environmental product disclosures to weigh options for building design and material selection with lower carbon impact. The materials credits in LEED version 4.1 has been significantly simplified, and it is evident from that more than 7,100 credits have been substituted by 2,295 projects, predominantly by LEED version 4 projects around the world. This means more projects are including sustainable and healthy materials to positively impact the health and wellness. Additionally, the construction and demolition waste management rewards the teams for reducing the amount of construction they are doing and the amount of demolition materials they are making. According to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, 10 to 15% of materials are wasted during the construction process. So this is a real opportunity to reduce embodied carbon by recycling and sorting these material streams. Adding carbon as a metric to everything we do sets the foundation upon which all new and existing buildings and eventually communities and cities can assess their current carbon footprint and begin mitigation. And projects in Carolinas are already implementing LEED version 4.1, including the 800 West State Street in Charlotte, which received LEED version 4.1 operations and maintenance gold certification in March of this year. Congratulations. As Dave mentioned earlier, we have fully integrated our ARC platform into LEED version 4.1, making LEED the first green building performance standard in the world. Now LEED is officially both a green building performance management system and a project management system and a performance management system. We are very excited for this. Through this integration, We are helping project teams to ensure their design, construction, and operational strategies are driving the expected performance for their project. And what's next is we want all lead projects to continue to demonstrate leadership long after they are constructed and occupied. I mentioned earlier about the Bank of America's headquarters in Charlotte. It achieved 3 times lead operations and maintenance certification, because it is not about one-time leadership, it's about ongoing leadership. So through our new recertification guidance, any lead project, old or new, can recertify using 12 months of performance data. Over 490 projects are already recertified using this new guidance, and we expect this number to grow rapidly in the future, like the LEED Gold certified Tally Student Center at NCSU. And while the building recertified the LEED Gold in 2018, its performance in ARC is currently tracking platinum. And what's even more notable is that NCSU certification was truly a team effort between an innovative college of design course, the facilities division, and the university student centers. The large team comprised both students and professionals who researched and proposed the design, giving the students real world experience in their field. Now, if we are going to move the needle to tackle climate change, we only have one choice: to set our sights at zero. We believe net zero is a powerful target that will move the entire industry forward to a regenerative future. This is where our leaders are going, with 17 certifications already achieved. Lead projects are transitioning to net zero milestones, and yours can too. Yes, zero carbon emissions, but also net zero energy use, net zero water use, and net zero waste. You heard about the Sierra project story. 98.9% waste diversion. You're there, almost there. So you may be surprised to know that the first LEED Zero Energy project did not come from the US or Europe or Asia, but rather from Brazil. And the second project was not from a tier 1 city, but from Little Rock, Arkansas. The third LEED Zero Energy project is one of my favorites, Discovery Center Elementary School in Arlington, Virginia. $117,000 in annual savings to fund 2 teachers' salaries. If a school can deliver this, there should be no excuse for any project in the world not to pursue the LEED Zero certification or its goals. In addition to these savings and delivering a net positive energy balance, the school serves as the learning laboratory for students to get on an early start on system. So far, we have delivered 17 LEED Zero certifications, including the Colgate-Palmolive Burlington, New Jersey site that has achieved all 4 certifications: LEED Zero Energy, LEED Zero Water, LEED Zero Waste, and LEED Zero Carbon. And I'm happy to see that hundreds of LEED projects are now actively considering LEED Zero certification. Now, while LEED Zero is made for individual buildings, we want to accelerate change on every possible scale. That means not only addressing isolated projects, but the cities and the communities that they belong to. We need to see the forest through the trees. That's why we created LEED for cities and communities. It's a change on an even greater scale. These programs are helping cities develop responsible, sustainable, and specific plans for green energy, water, waste, transportation, many other factors that contribute to the human experience. They encompass sustainability and much more: quality of life, health, prosperity, equity, education, resilience, infrastructure, and energy. They are designed to support continuous progress towards developing better communities and cities, because better communities equal better lives. More than 100 cities and communities around the world, including Durham, Raleigh, Winston-Salem, and Columbia, are registering and certifying with us. In total, these places cover more than 53 million people. I'm also excited to share that thanks to a generous grant from Bank of America, Greensboro, Charlotte, and Orange County will also be receiving funding to pursue certification this year. Now, if you look at this slide, I want to take a minute to share a few key takeaways from the slide. The first key takeaway is that if you are in a city that's not on this list, please encourage you to take action. It's a smaller font, as it was too hard to fit all the cities in a very visible manner. But there are more than 100 cities on that slide. If you are in a city that is not on this list, please encourage it to take action. The second thing I want you to leave you with is this: how LEAD can be layered to support people, businesses, neighborhoods, and cities. If you take a look at that list, you will notice that Washington, D.C. is on the list towards your left. But so is the Golden Triangle Business Improvement District, a neighborhood within that city, further to your right, at the very bottom. Recently, Golden Triangle achieved LEED Platinum certification and became the first LEED certified business improvement district in the world. Golden Triangle has made significant efforts to ensure a clean, safe, and vibrant neighborhood for more than 89,000 people. And it is a stellar example of how to use every possible inch to improve the quality of life, of living standards of every person who visits or calls it home. And USGBC's headquarters, LEED Platinum office, is also proudly part of this. So imagine if every building asks their community and city to get certified. And imagine if we can connect all of the data through the ARC platform, and we know exactly the impact our buildings and communities and cities. Imagine that world. And as Dave mentioned, ARC powers LEED. But we also know that there are many existing buildings that may not be ready for LEED. And to help them get started, we have introduced performance certificates that allow every project to get started and make incremental progress on the following categories: energy, water, waste, transportation, and human experience. These projects can eventually get to LEED certification if they really want to, but they can get started. What is exciting to me is we have now more than 9,700 projects in ARC, and close to 400 projects have obtained their energy performance certificates in just a few months, allowing us to jumpstart the much needed progress on our existing buildings. All of these efforts, from ARC to LEED to LEED Zero, are part of our vision to ensure that the next phase of USGBC's efforts will be LEED positive, where buildings are actually generating more energy than they use and removing more carbon than they use. And the way to get there may not always be direct. It'll require incremental steps. It'll require projects to get LEED certified. It'll require a project to be tracked in ARC. It'll require a building to be zero and maybe even beyond. But the aspirational goal that I've set for USGBC is that we will require all LEED new construction projects to achieve LEED positive starting in 2025, and all existing buildings to be LEED positive by 2050. So in the next 30 years, we have a clear goalpost of achieving a very tangible transformation to ensure that in the years ahead, LEED buildings must not just do less harm than traditional construction. Instead, they should be carbon positive and truly regenerative. They should generate more energy than they consume, save more water than they use, remove more carbon than they produce, and have a positive impact on the physical, mental, and social health and health of its occupants. In short, LEED buildings need to give back to communities more than they take from them. We need to reimagine how to grow and scale our projects so that in meeting this new demand, we create better, more inclusive spaces. And that will be achieved by all of us together. While cities across the globe work to flatten the COVID-19 curve and return to some sense of normalcy, we must face a new reality. The world we return to might look nothing like the world that we left behind. The impact of the global COVID-19 pandemic will be felt for years to come on the economy, on people, and our way of life. 50% of the world's population already lives below the poverty line. And the IMF estimates that in 2020 and 2021 alone, the cumulative GDP loss from this pandemic could be around $9 trillion. $9 trillion. It's no secret that the most vulnerable among us will feel the gravest impacts. They already do. We are going to have extraordinary mental, physical, and financial health repercussions in nearly every part of society. Remaining resilient both in business and life will require every industry and individual to adapt at a pace we might never have thought possible. But what lies ahead is also a responsibility for us to design a more resilient future. We believe that healthy people in healthy places is the fastest way to build a healthy economy. And the global pandemic has made only those beliefs of us that we have much stronger, and our mission has become much more vital. We don't have to choose between public health and a healthy economy. The future will require both to thrive. That is why, going forward, we'll prioritize our efforts to build people's trust that their spaces are healthy and have a positive impact not only on them, but the economy at large. In other words, our second generation at USGBC will focus on our relevant and reimagined vision. Healthy people in healthy places equals a healthy economy. This is a once-in-a-lifetime crisis. But it is also a once-in-a-lifetime chance for us to fulfill that vision by asking the right questions and discovering the most equitable, inclusive, and innovative solutions. How will we build a healthier, more sustainable future for current and future generations to honor the lives lost? How will we rebuild our economy and replace unprecedented job losses around the world? How will we remain resilient against future threats to our global health, like climate change? And how can we ensure that trust people have in feeling safe and healthy in the spaces where they live, learn, work, and play? So this Wednesday, USGBC will be announcing a series of actions and priorities that will support the global recovery effort and leverage the power of our community to shape a healthier future for all. First and foremost, GBCA will amend its lead review process immediately to incorporate the lessons learned over the last 2 months from COVID-19. In doing this, we can provide unequivocal support to all projects and ensure those that are currently undergoing LEED certification can dynamically transition to make their spaces healthier. We'll publish a series of reports offering specific guidance on best practices to help project teams assist their occupants as they re-enter their spaces. We will establish LEED version 4.1 regional working groups in the United States and around the world to provide recommendations to our LEED steering committee and technical advisory groups. We will also launch a call for proposals and organize an event in June to hear perspectives from the broader market on how LEED can better evolve to deliver on the new reality we are facing. We will continue improving the Better Materials platform that we announced at Greenville last year to curate and highlight products and materials to project teams to improve their occupant health, wellness. We'll make a series of upgrades to LEED version 4.1 that will be made available to project teams in August of this year. And on an emergency basis, we will release LEED pilot credits to support social distancing, non-toxic surface cleaning, air quality, and infection monitoring for projects to be able to leverage them even if they are already certified. We will use ARC's Human Experience Performance Certification to deliver a workplace re-entry or healthy space report, or even certification for spaces to monitor and improve their occupant satisfaction, comfort, and confidence. And at Greenville 19, we announced our intent to launch the USGBC Equity Program. We will accelerate the implementation of this program in order to help our stakeholders to address the social, health, and economic disparities within their communities. This pandemic has brought health to the forefront of people's minds. but the uneven ways in which the virus is impacting the most vulnerable reminds us of deep underlying social inequity. To respond to this, on May 28th and 29th, we are holding a USGBC Equity Summit to help us collectively answer key questions that will shape the USGBC Equity Initiative and the second generation of USGBC. In the inaugural summit, we will convene and listen to USGBC members, sustainability advocates, key social and environmental justice leaders, and economic and community development experts. And through the two-day event, we will listen to community members' presentations and understand and learn from them how to deliver on USGBC's promise of better buildings equal better lives by demonstrating equity. We hope participants will share how their work advances social equity by creating better lives for people through green buildings, cities, and communities. And what I'm excited is we have received an enormous amount of registration for this event. That's exciting. But what I ask you today is, rather than just being a listener, if you are already implementing social equity initiatives within your enterprise, within your projects, please come forward and submit your intent to present during this two-day event. This is your opportunity to demonstrate your leadership, your opportunity to inspire other people to take action, and most importantly, it's your opportunity to frame the future, an opportunity to contribute to the future that we all need to collectively think about. Because we believe a sustainable world is important, but a sustainable world and an equitable world is needed and is necessary. So please help us by joining, by encouraging our colleagues to attend, and most importantly, taking the lead to present and redefine our future for how we can make this an equitable world. And Rhiannon and team will forward the links for your registration if you have already not noticed. And we are looking forward to seeing you on May 28th and May 29th. With that, I thank you for this opportunity by reminding us all that healthy people and healthy places equals a healthy economy. This is our new, timely, relevant, and necessary vision. And thank you for your leadership and your continued support in joining us for this effort to make this a reality. Thank you all.